This is the factor theorem. So after we learned about division or the long division and the synthetic division, so this next topic is the factor theorem. So we are trying to identify if a given linear expression is a factor of another polynomial. So here it says x minus r, which is the linear expression, okay, is a factor of the polynomial, okay, the polynomial expression p of x if and only if p of r equals 0. Okay, what does it mean? So what is this r? R is this number. Okay, so let's have an example so that we can see clearly, right, what it means. So we know that if a given polynomial is divided by another linear equation or linear expression, okay, so the answer, of course, is the quotient, and these are the factors of this polynomial, right? So that means if we can divide this by this without a remainder, x plus 2 is a factor, right? So instead of going through the long division or the synthetic division, we can use factor theorem to identify if it is a factor or not, right? So how we identify r? So in this case, this is x plus 2. So what we do is we equate it to 0, okay, and then x equals negative 2, right? So we substitute this value of x to our polynomial. So if the resulting value is equal to 0, then that means this x plus 2 is a factor, right? And we know from our knowledge of quadratic equations, the factors of a quadratic equation are the zeros of the function, right? So that means if this is a factor of this polynomial, then that means this value of x will make this equation equal to 0, right? So let's try. So if x is equal to negative 2, substitute that to this. So we have f of 2 equals 3 times, negative 2, sorry. So 3 times negative 2 cubed minus 4 times negative 2 squared minus 28 times negative 2 minus 16. Right? And then simplify this. Negative 2 cubed is negative 2 times negative 2 is 4 times negative 2 is 8. So this is, it's negative 8. Okay? Then negative 2 squared is positive 4. And negative 2 times negative 28, that becomes positive 56. And minus 16. Okay? Then 3 times negative 8 would be negative 24. Negative 4 times 4 is negative 16. Plus 56 minus 16. Okay? So negative 24 minus 16, that will be negative 40, and then another negative 16, that's negative 56. So basically, that's negative 56 plus 56 is equal to 0. Okay? So that means at f of negative 2, right, the resulting value is 0. That means x plus 2 is a factor. Okay? So, the next step is, according to this, we need to factor it out completely, right? So this is already 3x cubed, and we divided it by x plus 2. So the problem is we only have one factor, and if the highest exponent is 3, that means we're looking for 3 factors, okay? So we already have one, okay? So the resulting factor will be a quadratic. So let's continue. So that was 3x cubed Okay, so this divided by x. Okay, according to that, it's x plus 2. So x plus 2. Okay. So we know that x plus 2 is already a factor, so we can use synthetic division so that we can reduce this polynomial. So by synthetic division, so we have 3, negative 4, negative 28, and negative 16, then negative 2. So bring down 3. 3 times negative 2 is negative 6. Add this up, negative 10. That will be positive 20. This will be negative 8. That will be positive 16 and 0. Okay, so the resulting expression, or the resulting polynomial will be 3x squared minus 10x, okay, minus 8. Okay? Then, since this is now just a quadratic expression, so we can easily factor this out. Okay? So how do we factor this? So we get this a, so this is in the form ax squared minus bx minus c, or ax squared plus bx plus c. So we multiply this to 8. So we will have x squared minus 10x minus 24. Okay? Then find factors of 24 that adds up to 10. So that would be 6 and 4. So x, 6, x, 4. Okay, so we want this to be negative. So that means one of them, oh wait. No. So cannot use this. Oh, we have 12 and 2. X, so 12 and 2. So because 6 and 4 cannot have both negative here. Okay, so 12 and 2, so 12 times 2 is 24, and we want it negative, so one of them should be negative, the other is positive. But we want this to be negative, so that goes 12 is negative, 2 is positive. So negative 12 plus 2 is negative 10, negative 12 times 2 is negative 24. But since we multiplied this 3 here, we will divide them by 3. Okay, so this will be x minus 4 times x plus 2/3. Okay, so these two are the factors of 3x squared minus 10x minus 8. But since we want the factors of 3x cubed minus 4x squared minus 28x minus 16, so all three factors will be this, okay, and the other two. Okay, so therefore, the factors are, so let's just write it down here. Okay, so x minus 4, so the answer is, so x minus 4 times x plus 2 over 3 times x plus 2. So these are the factors of the original polynomial. Alright? So let's have one more. Okay, so we have here x cubed minus 6x squared plus 5x plus 12. So we have two options again to identify if it is a factor. So we can use the factor theorem. So just substitute the r to the f of x. Okay, and we can do that by getting the value of this. So x minus 4 equated to 0, therefore x will be equal to 4. So substitute. So 4 cubed, so 4 times 4 is 16, times 4, 64. 4 squared is 16, so negative 6 times 16. Plus 5 times 4 is 20, plus 12. Right? So this is 64. So So 16 times 6, 6 times 10 is 60 plus 36, so that would be minus 96 plus 20. Okay, so 96 and 64, that will be 32. Okay, negative 32 plus 20 plus 12, that will be 0. Okay, so therefore, we can say that x minus 4 is a factor. And it says completely given that x minus 4 is a factor. Okay, so we use synthetic division. Okay, let's do synthetic division here. So we have 1, negative 6, 5, okay, and 12. Okay, then here is positive 4. So 1 times 4 is 4, negative 2, negative 8, negative 3, and negative 12, then 0. So this gives us x squared minus 2x minus 3. Okay, then factors of this, factors of 3, that adds up to negative 2, so that will be x and x. So that's obviously 3 and 1. Okay, this will be negative, this will be positive. Okay, so the factors are x minus 3 times x plus 1 times x minus 4. Okay, that is the complete factors of f of x. Okay, so that's how you use the factor theorem. Okay, next is the what we call remainder theorem. Okay, so the remainder theorem is almost the same process that was what we did with the factor theorem. We just substitute. Okay, and the remainder theorem will help us identify if a given linear equation or linear expression is a factor of the given polynomial and to identify the remainder. Okay, so see. According to this, use substitution to determine whether the given linear expression is a factor of the polynomial. So this is the linear expression, and that is the polynomial. So we just need to equate this to 0. So that means x plus 2 equals 0. So x equals negative 2. So we just use substitution to substitute this to our polynomial and to see if the resulting value is 0, that means x plus 2 is a factor, just like what we did in the factor theorem. But if it's not equal to 0, that means x plus 2 is not a factor and the resulting value is the remainder. So let's substitute. So negative 2, so we'll have here negative 2 cubed minus 2 times negative 2 squared minus 5 times negative 2 plus 6. So negative 2 cubed is negative 8. So negative 2 times negative 2 is positive 4 times negative 2 is negative 8. Then negative 2 squared is 4. So negative 2 times 4. Okay. Negative 5 times negative 2 is positive 10. And plus 6. Okay. So this negative 8. This is negative 8. This is 10. This is 6. Negative 8 and negative 8 is negative 16. 10 and 6 is positive 16. So this will be 0. Okay? So since the resulting value is 0, that means x plus 2 is a factor because there's no remainder. Okay? That's why it's called remainder theorem, because the resulting value will be the remainder. Okay? So since it's 0, there's no remainder, x plus 2 is a factor for this polynomial. Okay? Okay, so let's try this one. So it's x plus 3. So if we equate it to 0, x is equal to negative 3. Okay, so we substitute it here again. So negative 3 cubed minus 3 times negative 3 squared Okay, minus 6 times negative 3 plus 8. So negative 3 cubed, so negative 3 times negative 3 is 9 times negative 3 is negative 27. This one as well is negative 3 squared is 9 times negative 3 is also negative 27. Okay? Negative 6 times negative 6 times negative 3, so it's positive 18. And then plus 8. Okay? So, negative 27 minus 27 is negative 54. So, 18 plus 8 is just positive 26. Okay? So, negative 54 plus 26, that will be negative 28. Okay? So, this is a remainder. Okay? So, if there is a remainder, okay? Okay, if there is a remainder, that means x plus 3 is not a factor of this.